rise above. Take a chance, do it all for love and no regrets. Up ahead there's an open door and I gotta find what I'm looking for, and I'm on my way. Well, time moves on and the days go by, but the sun don't set on the stars tonight, and I spread my wings. My head's in the clouds with my feet on the ground, my aim held high and I'm moving on. My time is now to make all my dreams come true, to let all the light shine through, so I can be everything I know that I could be, to find all the strength inside. Baby, just watch me fly. Now I have all I need to find the best in me. Well, isn't it time to open my mind and just believe? Just believe. I feel my heart beating like the drum, and I'll never rest till the victory's won, and it's alright. I light 'em up and I'll take them down, and I feel the right.
Hello, welcome to Thrive with Dot and Lany Ray, and to our special guest, Pattie Brassard. Hi, Pattie.
Hello.
How are you
The
feeling today?
chat restream hasn't displayed. All right.
I'm
The
sorry?
chat restream isn't working. The restream for the people chatting isn't working yet. It's not posting.
Okay. We'll figure that out. But I can go into YouTube certainly and check that out, okay? How are you doing today?
As well as can be expected living here. You know how it is.
Yes. And did you want to share where you are, or just in general where you are?
I'm in a crappy, nursing home / recovery for post-surgical rehab folks. And it's up in Massachusetts, Plymouth, Mass.
Okay.
And none of it's going well up here. So,
Yeah, it's tough. I've worked in several nursing homes myself, and it's tough. It's not an easy life, right?
no,
To live there.
I know. Trying to get tell people that this has started.
Okay.
There's not many people.
Well, it is a new channel. I just want to share that. Thank you all for joining our new channel, and please subscribe so that we can grow and continue to provide great content for you all, which is more is coming. We did just have an interview with Pattie, which is on the under the video tab on the channel here, and it was a good first interview, good overview of what we intend to talk about. We have at least 2 or 3 more videos from that initial talk that we will be posting shortly. But we wanted to come together with Pattie and the audience and try to answer any questions people may have from the first show, and any suggestions for future shows would be feedback would be nice, right? Because there's so many different ways we can go right now. The world is just a little crazy, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, just a little.
Just a little. And it's hard to find good channels that tell the truth with don't have an agenda, and that's who we are. We want to definitely put ourselves out as that, and invite you to share in our community. Definitely. So, where did you want to start today, Patty?
I was kind of hoping for people to be asking questions.
Okay. Well, I can put the PowerPoint up, show the screen to go back to the items that we were discussing. Okay.
Actually showing on.
It's not showing.
That's only showing on our screen. No.
Really?
It still says it's waiting for Thrive
Actually,
with Dot and Lany Ray.
I'm seeing
So
it. I'm seeing it
you're not
on.
streaming.
I am. It's on my phone. It's on my phone. So,
Huh. So it's not doing it on the web page.
it is doing it
On
on
the
my
website
on
with the
YouTube.
web browser.
It was doing it on YouTube. So,
That's what I mean.
yeah. So I'll just have a few different welcome, Lena. Thank you for coming. And welcome at Lumen. And
Yeah.
Patty is under the name of Gaia Shaman. And
It says, oops, seems like one of your streams is having connection issues. Stand by, we are trying to restore the connection.
okay.
Okay. Like I said, it's a learning curve.
Definitely a learning curve. Definitely a learning curve. And we will get this all straightened out for sure.
Yeah.
So what we did in the last video was focus on going within as the most important thing right now that anyone can do for themselves, for their relationships with others, for connecting with source, higher source, your higher self, and creator source. So that's what we wanted to emphasize for sure. Did you want to talk about that at all?
The important stuff, to get people, to graduate and get out of here. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the goal, right? Now,
Yeah.
why we don't have control over the grander play that's being, or movie they call it, that's being played out, what we can do is go within ourselves, connect to source, connect to our higher selves, expand our awareness and mindfulness, purge or take care of some wounding that we have, and move on. And the more that we act in love and righteousness, the more we're helping each other, because we're helping to raise each other's frequencies. So we have a responsibility. It's almost like a response. You have a responsibility to do this for yourself, but also for everyone else who's connected. And I hate to use the word collective, but we can try it for now. You're affecting everyone in the collective, so we can all raise at the same time.
Everyone that's left, that is, because there's not a whole lot of actual humans that need to graduate left.
You want to elaborate on that?
It's under 13%. There are, a lot of people who have already actually graduated. That is, they've already left their body behind because they didn't care to keep it. And so you get a lot of people out there now that are walking around and there's nobody home, in essence.
Can you see that comment? Some people have no idea how to go within or what it does for them. This person, Genevieve, Genevieve,
Yeah, I see it. Actually, the chat did finally come up. So
it says, I do know how to do it she knows how to do it for herself, but it's hard to explain to others. So she's right. A lot of people don't know how to do this. So maybe we can help take them through some steps and some tools, which are in the PowerPoint, to help you go within, correct?
one of the easiest things is to get your third eye up and going.
And how do
Because until you do that, saying go within to most people, they have no idea what that means. And they don't believe they can do anything or communicate with others, their full self or issues of that nature. That's why the whole third eye exercise is the easiest way to kick them off. And that's taking your two index fingers and close your eyelids and just lightly press on your eyeballs. Generally, for most people, that puts a couple of dots, just from the light pressure.
Okay.
Puts a couple of dots on their internal eye.
While closing your eyes.
So,
they're closed.
Yeah, close your eyes when you obviously don't put your fingers on your
right. I'm making a joke.
And that gets you started because you can merge those two dots together into a vision screen and start using your third eye, externally. A lot of people already use it if they're thinking about something they want to make or something like that, something creative, and they can picture the thing in their mind's eye. That's using the third eye, believe it or not, but you're using it internally rather than externally. So
sometimes it can be mixed in and we don't even know it, right? But it takes practice in order for that pineal gland exercise. That's one way you can try to, get the circulation moving in your brain and try to get it focused right there and practice. And
if you've never used it for external means, it means it's going to have to make new pathway.
Exactly.
At least to some extent.
It's like muscle re-education, really.
Yeah.
So I can
something they can work on. They need to work on.
Okay. We can talk about some other ways. Do you want to talk about the Somniac?
That's not a third eye exercise.
No.
Having your third eye functioning and being able to imagine the rebuilding of your third pole of your DNA. Without the Salmiak, it can't happen because you'll end up with a triple negative charge on your DNA, and it'll just push that third one away. That was one of the problems when they wanted to do the silicone one to hijack you. They had that problem too. That's why that couldn't work without the Salmiak, and they'd already made it illegal all of Britain, and they were trying to do it here.
Okay. And
I'm speaking of it, just in case you're wondering what I was doing.
I'm going to get mine too.
My preferred type. It's the ones that taste like root beer barrel.
And that is the one that I put the link on the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
So that you can get the right kind, because it's not all made the same, I must say. There are some licorices out there, but this is a nice candy that tastes like a root beer barrel, and then it's very salty too. So you just, have it in your mouth and slowly turn it around. But this can really have an effect on your receptivity to making those pathways and to connecting, correct? Can you explain that?
Yep, and you can scroll up in the thing where I got the, it shows it.
I will.
It's a
Well,
gyroscopic.
here's the symbol, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a gyroscopic transmitter receiver.
True.
So you can use it to broadcast your desires from your mind to your DNA.
Mm-hmm. And the oldest rather, symbol for this was the asterisk.
Yeah.
Correct?
Keep going down.
Where do you want to go?
See
Here we go.
That one. On the right, it's in the raw formats, and on the left is what it looks like at the molecular level. It's it's made by Gaia. It's a volcanic sublimate. That's why she was doing so many volcanoes.
Can we discuss how it's kind of suppressed in this form? You had to go to a specific scientific publication to find this.
Yeah.
Because if you look it up yourself, look up what is it? Sodium chloride.
Ammonium chloride.
Ammonium chloride. Thank you.
Now, ammonium chloride is the lab made stuff, and that's actually used for cleaning soldering irons and everything else. It's completely different at the molecular level from the natural stuff.
Right. So in investigating this, you may not find the right link because it was quite difficult when we were looking at the different links, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I originally found it when I went looking for the actual nutrient color that is missing from most people's diet. And it was a yellow. That's this. Because every mineral that you put in your body actually has a unique color and a sunlight color and everything else, or regular, because you can use lights for nutrients as well. And that was missing. And now it's even more important. Since a couple of years back, I recrystalled the sun. It's now blue-white instead of a yellow.
Okay, can you explain what a gyroscopic molecule, how that affects the electrical charge and the receptivity in the brain?
It doesn't set up an actual charge when it builds, when you're rebuilding your third pole. Instead, this is taking direction directly from your mind. It's a crystal. It says it's a salt, but it's, most salts have a crystalline structure. This is an actual crystal.
And can you explain what gyroscopic means?
It's spinning. That's all. Like a top.
Right. It spins in every which direction, and therefore it can function much more effectively in that form, right?
Yeah. But you also have to remember, if you're going to be using something like that to rebuild your DNA, that's the reason why I have that other, that one, backup one.
This?
No, the one that details. Next one up. Everything that goes into a single crossing of DNA between two poles. You need all those materials, including the phosphorus, to build the other pole. So, I mean, the constituents of all this has to be in your diet in order for you to even rebuild it. But the key point of getting your third eye working is because there's another part of your brain up here in the upper right corner that is used to manifest stuff. So between your third eye, imagining the repairs to your DNA in your third eye and the salmon egg, you can re-manifest your third pole. I did the whole presentation on it because without the third pole, all you have is solid mass going down the links between all your DNA, between your two poles of DNA. You try and draw energy up, you're gonna spontaneously combust.
Some of the energies that are coming in right now, I have a question. Some of the photonic energies and cosmic energies that are coming our way, they will also help to build the third pole, correct?
Say it again. I was reading the, the thing on the side.
Try not to let that distract you. I'll take care of the chat.
Yeah,
But I was asking if the photons coming from the sun and the cosmic photons that are coming in now, will they help activate the creation of that third pole as well?
most of the energy that does that would be coming from the central sun. And one of the reasons why our, overall the energy level is going up, as the soul moves around to the front of the entire travel of the entire Milky Way, you're still trying to. That's why they did the pulse early from the central sun, because now we're bucking what's coming in the front, and as we move around the front, the energy level is going to go higher and higher, higher anyway.
Okay.
But it's coming in actually from in front of the Milky Way. It's travel, as it's traveling, because we're moving. Most people don't understand how fast the Milky Way is running under warp drive. Okay, and it's traveling. We're traveling, and Sol system is traveling under warp drive, and it's a triad. There's Sol, there's Procyon, and there's Sirius. We have a little black hole in the middle. The three of us gyrate around, as well as go in the sine wave pattern up and down across the center plane of the Milky Way, and we're currently above the plane. That's what the whole transition thing was about back in 2012. All the looking glass equipment had to be shut down because you couldn't use it when it was transitioning across the plane of the Milky Way, because bad things would happen. So the energy level is going higher and higher. This is a regular cycle, and normally by this point, with this high level of energy, they pull some sort of catastrophe and beat humanity back, to the Stone Age. I mean, this has happened over and over and over again, and this time they lost because we knew everything they were going to do. This ain't our first run through, so we know everything they're going to do for the next 500 years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we beat them to the punch. We basically won the war. Now it's clean up ops and getting the rest of the people to graduate.
Okay. Well, there are other things that we can do as well in order to facilitate our third eye, correct? Yeah. So let me go back in the PowerPoint to some of the wonderful things we had listed there. Sorry.
Remember, everything's frequency. So it's your preferred preference, really, on how to use what methodology of frequency you want to use to do the corrective. And that's what brings us around to the genius, because unless you're pretty highly aware of where your body is at, what its state of existence is, you need something like the genius or there's several of them out there, but the genius is the cheapest one and easiest to use for most people to find what your state is, what you need. And it even has graphs that go whether it's something you need immediately, something that's chronic, and things of that nature.
I can attest to that. I'm putting Josie's email for any inquiries about the Genius product on the screen. Can you see it on the ticker there?
Yep.
Okay. I worked with Josie with this, and it's just amazing how accurate it is to what you already know about your body. You know, she asks you questions. You provide your date of birth, you provide a current picture, you have to say certain things with voice, etc., and it will scan you. And then whatever comes up as the most important thing to work on first, she will then send you or can enable you to have the frequencies that will help that, so that you can listen. Let's say you listen to them for a week and you get scanned again. But one good thing about the scan that I know you appreciate is having the aura picture.
The Curlian photograph, yeah.
Yes. And it's so amazing to see one before and after. Um, and if I can bring one up, I definitely will. But it's the future of medicine as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, we'll get off on a little tangent here,
Okay.
and speak about med beds, because that's really where things are going. There's a few hundred of them in play right now here in the United States, although they have to keep it covert. Otherwise, the bad guys will take them out, but they are a number of them being used. And basically, in one of those machines, you can put a sample of your DNA in there, and it'll holographically re-image over your whole body. And even if you got missing limbs and broken discs and things like that in your back, like I have, yeah, it can cause your body to regenerate them, because basically that's all it needs is the picture.
Okay.
Which is how I basically look so different so many different times through life. However, my abilities are kind of limited on the service to self side, because I'm pretty much all service to others.
So you can't really heal yourself, in other words.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to do repairs on myself, but over my life, I had from some pretty heavy damage, including
So,
healing a multiple fractured pelvis hit by a car, and healing it up in less than a week, where they couldn't even find where it broken. So
right.
yeah.
So, any news about the med beds, or we're still waiting?
Just that they're out there in covert vehicles, and some are on the key military bases where they're actually holding the tribunal and have enough troops to defend the hardware.
And I did hear, correct me if I'm wrong,
But
that
there's
they
people high priority on that, especially children right now are
yes.
getting the top priority for use of the med beds.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And so our turn will be coming up shortly, I'm sure. I know there's probably a limited amount, but I do want to say one word of caution, since we want to share the truth.
I don't want people to stay here. I want people to graduate. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
I know.
not med beds.
I'm gonna graduate too.
The celestial chamber, yeah, the celestial chamber, not a med bed. That converts you for the transhuman, that soul link, and strains you in the body.
You're breaking up just a little bit, so I'll just repeat that. There are things called celestial chambers that are not necessarily good, so I would encourage people to stay away from them. They're not true med beds, and they can do damage and steal your soul. Right, Patty?
Well, they don't steal your soul. Um, your soul. So yeah, you're pretty much stuck.
I get it.
When are you when are we leaving this construct? You're leaving when you graduate. That's the entire point.
So, and nobody can really discuss a date certain
No,
because no one knows the date certain.
exactly.
Because, everything keeps changing. Every decision we make, okay, every decision we make changes timelines. So everything's in flux. Timelines are always moving. So there isn't what we think of as time isn't necessarily what it is exactly. I just want to mention I put Pattie's PayPal up, and all links for all links are in the description underneath the video, and I can show that later. Some people don't know how to access that, but I can show that later after we're done with the share screen. Okay, and AJ, I wish there was a cheat sheet, but we don't have one. So let's talk about what other things we can do to go within. And I'm just going to exactly say here, avoid the fear porn and the mainstream media. Shut the TV off. Throw it out the door, right? Because it's not going to do you any good. In fact, there are negative frequencies there that may harm you and add to the mind control and manipulation. Right, Pattie? I'm not hearing you, Pattie. Pattie? I can't hear you. Do you want to try to come back in? He still can't hear you. You want to try to go out and come back in, Pattie? It might work. Okay. Okay. Well, while she's doing that, I'm going to advance the PowerPoint. And now we're discussing. Hi, JD. Are you there? Josie? I don't know if you're there or muted, but you can join the chat. We were talking. Okay. Here we go. Trying to let Josie in and trying to let Pattie back in. Okay. Can you hear me now? Still can't hear you, Pattie. So, we were talking about going within and how the optic nerve is a great mechanism for them to try to access our brain. Is it not? And through our nervous system, they can affect other areas. And this is when I say they, I'm talking about the people who want to send frequencies out via the TV, the computer, your phones. So definitely do not have a phone on when you're trying to go to sleep. It's not very smart. Just think these things through, right? If you don't need something, unplug it. And just try to stay away from the negativity in the mainstream media. So also, we do share some caution with the alternative media. As you're probably aware, there is some confusion there. And hi, Patty. How are you?
Hello.
Trying to hear you again. Hello. I've got a really great connection.
Yeah, my microphone now.
Okay, great connection with you now.
It seems to be working now. The media is going.
Yeah. So we were just talking about how the optic nerve.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we were talking about avoiding mainstream media and some of the ways that mind control does occur. If you want to talk about the conscious and subconscious and the flicker rates, that might be helpful.
Okay. I wanted to finish what I was trying to say before. This timeline is fixed that we're on now. There are still others yet that need to be merged into it. And, changes back in time. It can't change. So,
can you repeat that? Because after you said,
as far as okay, there's some other issues where there's other timelines that need to get merged in, like inner flat Earth and whatnot. Still needs to get merged in with this one. But even if they went back in time, they can't make changes to this one. We're in isolation, and we're in a time bubble. So the whole thing of something coming to hit the planet Earth and whatnot, and that's already gone past. They put us in an isolation time bubble to extend the time. I'm not happy about that.
right.
As far as the programming on TV, the reason why we argued for so long, we weren't supposed to drop to their level. But at this point, the only way we're getting through to people is putting the actual truth on TV. That way the programming goes in, but at least this time around, it's, a lot of it's going to be the truth to get people to wake up. And the way that works, they're pushing 60 hertz at you. Your hindbrain sees everything. The eyes, where they connect to your prefrontal cortex, only 30 of it. So every other frame basically is programming. So
Very interesting to understand the mechanism there.
Yeah. So that's how the programming works. That's why Trump says, when he says his thing, I can't tell you about it, I have to show you. And that's why even talking to people a lot of times, like I do, that's not enough. You got to give them, you got to, do all of it so it goes in the medium that they're used to receiving their so-called facts.
Which is visually. So we have to, in other words, we need to show people. And that's one of the reasons that we do have a PowerPoint in this presentation, is for you to visually process the information as well. And many people are visual learners. You can also download the PDF in the description if you would like to save it as well. It's one of the links down in the description. So we can go forward with the PowerPoint. This is pretty funny, right? Just showing in one picture how TV has really played an impact on the world. Did you want to discuss Common Core? Patty?
That's what the Nazis did on all the Poland. It actually destroys the pathways to do linear logical thinking.
Which is so important right now. Critical thinking.
Mostly,
There's a bit of a delay.
How's the transition happening? It's different for every individual, but it's not something that anybody's going to be able to explain to you, nor is it something you're going to recognize until after. You're not going to recognize it happens. When you go to 4D, it's your memory of all the trauma and everything here is going to be wiped out. So you're not even going to recognize that you ever moved.
So when we transition or graduate.
Yeah, there's people that have some sort of trauma. Some people have gone to the hospital. Some people are on the wheel. And they just got to the point where, they understood. Part of that is, one, you gotta let go of all your this is mine, and you gotta have it, some people as their children. The souls inside the bodies here don't belong to the parents, but they naturally, a lot of them are holding on here specific for their children. And that's because the souls inside their children may have no real connection to them. When it's time to, graduate, you do what you got to do when you graduate out of here. I mean, most of the children here, if they're not already, like indigo children born with triple pole, 48 chromosome DNA, they've probably already graduated out of here.
So when you graduate, before you graduate, you need to let go of the attachments in this world. Your attachments to money, a job, your car, all the material things. But what you're going pretty deep talking about attachments to other people, and to realize that everybody has a free will choice, correct?
Yeah, and that everybody's ultimately connected. And these are just avatars you're driving around in down here. They're not, they're not you. And even you are not fully you. Your full self can have multiple incarnations down here at the same time.
Or your full self can be in multiple dimensions at the same time too, right?
Yeah.
So is it right to say that you want to
the dragons that used to be the oversight humanity? They exist on 12 different dimensions simultaneously. So the Civil Legion group are a lot, not all of them, but a large part of it that are here helping with this whole mass cleaning up. We're one dragons. So when their body here was, killed, all they did is lose that one form. I don't know if Telez is mission complete. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I read that he was in an accident of some sort, and I believe he's undergoing intensive rehabilitation. I think that's why we haven't seen anything from him in a while. Og Telez.
Yeah. The full self resides outside of time. So it's not down here in what I call manifested line. But I mean, because of all the multiple connections I've got, I can mentally back up into my full self to look up and down the time stream and things of that nature.
So some other things that people can do, I know some people use a pendulum to help them communicate with their higher self, pretty much get a yes or no answer.
Or
Correct.
dowsing rods, and I don't recommend using Ouija boards, but some people do
No,
use that
I
and
wouldn't.
still stay on the light. Because there's too many
And
other things that can use a Ouija board.
And visualization, like we were talking about with the pineal gland exercise, and to include meditation, of course, right?
Yeah.
Here's another list if you want to discuss some of these items.
And like I said in the presentation, you got to remain alkaline, at least 7.5. If you don't know about that, that's a whole study in itself. Especially in this day and age, the nanotech, it's in all the beef and pork and everything shortly is also going to have the mRNA. But all the nanotech needs your physical body, at a low enough frequency, acidic, to act as a living battery to power the nanotech. So if you remain with a higher pH level, you're not acting like a battery of their technology. Get it to
I know that the pH strips that you can use with your urine can really give you a lot of information, especially in the morning, of how acidic or alkaline you are. I know a lot of people like to drink coffee, which can be...
You're better off with the pH strip in your tongue. That tells you what you have rather than what you're throwing away.
Oh,
if you do it in your urine, the pH level will thrown away.
I gotcha. So you put the pH strip, you just put it on your tongue, and that's it?
Right on your tongue.
Oh, that's because they're pretty inexpensive. You can get a lot of them for like $5 or $6.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's an inexpensive way to look at your body in a different way. They're only $5 or $6, and one way to help make your coffee less acidic is to put some sodium bicarbonate in there, just a pinch. And there's a lot of other ways to do it as well, which can be a topic of another show, right?
But it's also a good way if you are in your urine and your mouth, and there's a major discrepancy, that's worth looking into. And the Genius program will help you out what is going on. That stuff you might need to hold on to is getting dumped overboard. That's another problem with stuff that's on the market right now. It actually targets the stuff you need and gets your body to dump it overboard.
Right. And it's very hard, but it's important to try to get things that are organic, non-GMO, non-pesticide. And I can mention one, which is HempPaste, which I am an affiliate of, and they've got great products. It's like they can the plant that they've hybridized. It has minimal levels of THC. It's legal in 50 states. And the link for the HempPaste is in the description. I would highly recommend it for the nutritional value alone. Plus, it jumpstarts your endocannabinoid system. So, we have so many systems: our nervous system, our circulatory system, our lymphatic system, our energy system. So it helps to stimulate yet another system for your body to come to its maximal health. And it also crosses the blood-brain barrier. I've known people who have had success with pain management and dementia, for example. So if that gives you any idea about that, check it out. At least check out the website. Even if you don't buy anything, just educate yourself about it. So,
And the people who are asking what's the holdup for the shift, it sounds to me that somebody's looking for daddy to do the shift for them. It's not an outside thing that somebody else is going to do for you. This is something you either do for yourself or you don't. This last 13% or so are the holdup. You're the holdouts, the ones that are not willing to do the work so you can graduate. And, you know, we're trying to tell you and explain to you how to do what you need to do to graduate. There's going to be a bunch of them here. Some of them are already moved over, who are like the Christmas. They're going to Earth, and it's a 3D one for their 1,000 piece and waking up because they have a soul contract, and we're not allowed to interfere with those. So, if you're asking, you know, what's the hold up? When are we getting out of here? You're one of the ones that are actually holding up.
Right. And they're asking why.
The bubble? I wanted to end everything. And there's other groups that I asked in here, like the gardeners, who have a moral responsibility to save even the ones that aren't savable, in my opinion. So, because I was ready to just shred the place and call it a day, because one way or the other, everybody would end up where they needed to go. But that's how, you know, that's why the gardeners did it. Their normal job is making new systems and all that, and planets and new classrooms and things like that. We're not actually seeing eye to eye on everything.
Okay. Do you see that question? Where does the full self reside?
That was already asked, and I answered it already. I think it's replaying all the questions. It's outside of streaming time. It's not down here in manifested land. Each level of creation has 15 dimensions. And there's multiple levels. There's 3, in case you're wondering, that were infested with all these negative entities and everything else. If you went over the Perseus Pisces and went up through the Great Expeller, you'd get to the next level up. There's already a group in the level above that that's doing like we're doing down here. We're the bottom of the bucket. So, and once those 2 levels are cleaned out, everybody's supposed to meet in the middle and get the middle one cleaned out. And we've already closed up most of the holes going in between them.
Can you tell us about the progress that's being made every day? We have about 6 minutes left. So if we could talk about the progress so that we know that there's hope,
Well, that's the argument that's the argument I won, because originally they weren't letting us use the mind programming software to get the truth out. But now you every day, even on mainstream media. Although it calls them to be putting this information out, you can tell they're being forced to actually put the truth out there, even on a lot of the mainstream media channels. So we're making progress every day. There's also the issue with one of the major things we're trying to push forward is the Nasara Jasara thing, because the issues around money and banking and all of that are some of the major spell work and still in play, that we really can't just take these folks out without them being willing to dispel the spell work. If we just take them out, the results is going to be pretty horrific overall, and we're trying to avoid that. Because if everybody woke up tomorrow morning and knew that money was useless, it's an IOU that isn't even worth the paper it's printed on, and the banks all folded up, and Wall Street just vanished because of that. Is about the biggest fraud there is. You know, your motor vehicle registries, take money and everything from you, including the ownership papers of your vehicle, because you're supposed to have a certificate of origin. They're taking that and using it as a stock certificate. So even the cars you buy, they give you a entitlement to use. So you'll never own those. There's just so many frauds based around money and stocks and things of that nature that if it all collapsed all at once, all of a sudden in the one morning you wake up and all this is reality. Yeah.
But truths are coming out now, and more of the quote unquote bad guys are being taken care of. Can you talk about that?
Well, there's people like me that every night we go and play hunter killer. Plus everyone we actually do take down, we wipe out their money. We clean them out. So they've got less and less funding. That's why they're trying to come up with all this new stuff. I mean, there's a running joke out there. How do you get $40 billion out of the U.S. Mint? Anybody guess?
Someone's collecting this money.
Yeah, Ukraine it. And that's what they're doing. Ukraine is acting like they're depository of everything they can get out of the people to the left and put it there, where all the cabal that is part of the UN and NATO, that's all your bad guys. That's where it's all going.
But every day it's getting better.
Yeah.
And more of them are being either sent to source or whatever, they're being taken care of.
Yeah, being taken out.
Even though we may not see that, you have knowledge of that.
Yeah, well, if you're being able to see it even on the corrupt TV for those people who still watch it. I mean, I don't recommend it. The TV is at this point for those who are still well programmed and need to be yanked out of it, and they don't normally listen to shows like this until they get further down the road. But most of us even are like me. All the light workers and warriors are, when is this going to be over? Let's move it along.
Right. And we would love to move forward. And that is the whole point of this channel. And I encourage you to subscribe to this channel as we wind down in the last minute here. And please check the notifications bell so that you do get further episodes. This is a Q&A for only part 1 of a
This is the first
series.
part. Yeah.
Yes.
3, 4, at least. I think it's going to probably at least go 4 or
at
5.
Least. That's what we already recorded. It may go further as we dive into, if you look at the PowerPoint, that's an overview, and we go deeper into each subject. And any suggestions in the comments or the chat are welcome, because we want to discuss with you what's most important to you as we go forward from this point.
So
correct?
you can put things in the question box, in the chat box like that. We will read them and do our answer.
Great. So in the last 30 seconds, anything you wanted to say, Patty?
I love you all, and I'm doing the best I can to get you out of here as fast as possible.
Thank you for all your hard work. I know it's not easy, but we will move forward together. So I will end the stream now. Thank you so much for being here, Patty, and answering questions. I love it. And thank you so much for being here. And we will see you again very, very soon.
Yep.
And good night, everyone.
Night.